So I'm gonna say a few statements,
Hmm.
either that I think lead Muslims to the edge,
Okay,
or that I've heard people say that's what's leading Muslims to doubt their faith and therefore either leave Islam or just not practice. And then
mm,
after we do this exercise, I want to hear from you. In comparison to that, what were your findings with the proper study? So I'm gonna
sure.
start off with Muslims doubt their faith or they stop practicing because they just want to fit in and get approval from mainstream society and non-Muslims.
Uh, it's not nothing, but I would say it becomes closer to something if you are of a certain age, right? I mean, because listen, one of the things that similarly kind of irks me about anybody trying to analyze American Muslims is that they think that they are this kind of unique community that isn't kind of susceptible to the social forces that act upon everybody else in society. And so, listen, we are going to be teenagers at some point, and teenagers are very kind of angsty, very insecure, and that's just the nature of being a teenager, regardless of where you are. And so, yeah, so perhaps, this notion of fitting in and everything, it acts upon you perhaps a bit more, right? When you're in those kind of formative, adolescent, kind of late teen years. But perhaps I think it is less of a consideration once you become kind of more confident in yourself, like everybody does, right? Once you kind of hit your 20s, hit your 30s.
Sure. So it's a maybe a something, right? Maybe a something.
Yeah, yeah, maybe it's something.
Okay. Um, so Muslims leave Islam because they're too lazy to learn about their religion.
Oh, that's nothing. That's nothing. It's not that they're too lazy to learn. Perhaps they are too lazy to learn your particular interpretation, or they are too lazy to learn in the way that you think is the way to learn about Islam. But you got to meet people where they are, right? You can't just you got to, to put it differently, you got to know your audience. If I was going to give a talk at a masjid, I'm not going to start, kind of quoting political scientists and citing esoteric research from the early 1920s. No, I'm gonna talk to them like a person, right? So if you're gonna if you think somebody's being lazy, perhaps you're being a little too lazy, and not thinking of a different way to reach them.
So another reason some people think that Muslims doubt their religion is that they're just not practicing enough. They're not praying enough. They're not reading enough Quran.
That is something from one perspective and everything from another perspective, I would say. Uh, because I mean, one of the things that I always want to try to make clear when I talk about these issues is that I study Muslims. I do not study Islam, right? So everything that I am saying is just a reflection of what the data is telling me about the lived experiences of American Muslims. I don't make any normative judgments on what Islam says or anything along those lines. So what we do know, right, from basic teachings of Islam is that yes, the more you practice, the closer you get to Allah, the perhaps easier your road will be then, to perhaps accept the faith. Obviously, at the end of the day, everything comes to hidayah, and hidayah is from Allah, right? So that is so from that perspective, it's everything. Putting solely my social scientist hat on, I think it's something, but I really qualified something in that there's no way that I can really kind of pinpoint, right, a particular act, a particular behavior having an impact on one's belief, absent all the other behaviors, right? Because I'm not gonna, put an experiment and say, listen, I don't want you to fast, I don't want you to make salawat, just kind of pray fetch, and let's see how that works, and then we'll have you pray fetch and pray duh, and then we'll see, if you improve, right? I can't do that, right? And so, absent that, if somebody is praying, they're probably doing some other things, and so it's really hard to disentangle what's going on there.
Okay, last one before we get to the actual results, right? Muslims feel, or those who doubt Islam within the Muslims, and those who are on the edge and want to leave Islam or don't practice, just feel like Islam is irrelevant to their lives, and that they feel that Islam needs to be modernized and reformed for it to be relevant.
That it's something in that, but not in the way I think that some people think it is. It's not in the way that these very prominent, ex-Muslims kind of make it out to be. That they took this very kind of rational course that led them to realize, right, that Islam was not the way. It's not. I don't think that's what's motivating a lot of folks to kind of doubt. I think what is put differently, it's not that they are articulating it in that way, right? But perhaps their actions speak louder than that articulation. And at the end of the day, yes, if you do not think that Islam kind of fits into your conception of what makes a good life, then yeah, that's going to be a really big problem for you to remain Muslim in that sense, right? So it's something, but not in the kind of high-minded way that some kind of prominent folks talk about it.
So, I mean, the reason we went through that exercise is just for our listeners to appreciate the level of nuance you've given this topic, right? Mashallah, you've done the research, quantitative research and qualitative. And so I'm anxiously awaiting the results from you, to hear them directly from you.